Hey everyone. I felt like I wanted to record today because just as much as I show or I express the really great moments, I also wanted to, you know, record the not so great moments as well. I think that, it provides a full scope of life in general. And I was going back and forth with if I even wanted to do this when it was suggested that I did, because I wanted this platform to be about healing. So I was going to write in my journal, but as I started writing in my journal, I thought about the fact that I wish I had a diary. And then I thought about why I started this platform in the first place. And that's to show that healing and going through life journey isn't always going to be, enthusiastic. It's not always going to be happy. It's not always going to be great moments. It's not always going to be story times. There are going to be times where you're down in the dumps and you don't want to get up. You don't want to do anything. You want to hide and you don't want to deal with the world. You want to give up and you don't want to try anymore because you're not seeing the progress. And you just feel like everything that you're doing is in vain. You feel like you have to settle in some capacity in the name of survival. So you're really not truly living because we're stuck in this cycle of I have to do whatever it takes to survive for not only myself, but for my family as well. And that can be extremely hard to carry on a day-to-day basis because you feel like if you crumble, the whole world's going to crumble after you. You feel like you're the person that has to hold everything together and everything is dependent on you. And that is such a difficult load to carry, and it puts an immense pressure on you as you continue to navigate. So we don't always have time to nurse ourselves to make sure that we are actually good because we have to go out and be a survivor. We don't have time to be human because we have to be a survivor. And our needs are taking a back seat to this new way. Well, it's not really new. It's not new at all. But it's definitely a lot more difficult than normal, if I must say so. Ever since we've encountered this pandemic, I think it's just been difficult to get the footing back. Some people were able to kind of go back into the swing of things, which is amazing. Some people this never really affected, which is great as well. But a lot of people were affected by this, and people now are still trying to figure out how to get their footing back, how to get that stability back, and how to move forward. In my case, I used the pandemic to really focus on my mental health and tap into my inner self, my inner being. And, during the pandemic, I turned 30. So my spiritual awakening had begun at that time. And I was becoming more in touch with my spiritual self. So that was kind of where my focus was at. And while I don't regret that, because I was able to utilize my tools in my life, I sometimes wish that I had more of a hand in other aspects of my life. But I feel like regardless of what I did, there still would have been some form of imbalance. So now I'm just kind of dealing with the repercussions of the pandemic and trying to navigate through the struggles. And I have great days. October was an amazing month. And it wasn't because things fell into place. It's just because I shifted my mental and I really leaned into my joy and the things that made me happy, regardless of what that looked like. But sometimes, you do that, and as you're doing that, you get hit with a dose of reality, and it kind of knocks you off your pedestal of joy, and you find yourself going back 100 steps after you made 10 steps forward. And that can be a really dark place to be in. And, when you get into those places, you often feel like, what's the point of continuing to move forward if I'm going to continue to get pushed back? And you lose your motivation, you lose your drive, you lose your inspiration. You don't even want to bother anymore. You just want to just shut it down. You want to just it's above you now. And you just want to let the universe just do what the universe is going to do, because it seems like when we try to push forward, the universe pushes back. And it's just like, okay, well then what's the point of trying? And I just wanted to share this moment with you, because I know that today is a bad day, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow won't be a good one. And I just wanted to stress that it is okay to have bad days, and sometimes your bad days will be bad weeks. Sometimes your bad weeks will be bad months. Sometimes those bad months might be a bad year, but that doesn't equate to a bad life. And I try to remind myself of that, and I want to remind you all of that as well. And another reason why I wanted to make this particular episode is because I know that it's hard for a lot of people out there, and I know a lot of people feel alone. And I know this because some days I feel alone, and I just wanted to let you all know that you're not alone. And we will get through this hump. It's just a little bit more steep than we had hoped and that we would like it to be. But if we just continue to understand our purpose and our goals, I strongly believe that it'll come together. And one day this will all make sense. Today's not that day. Well, not for me anyway, but I'd like to believe that this will all make sense, even with all the diversions and detours. There is an end goal, and we will all get to our end goals. It's just going to take us a minute, but we're going to be okay. Yeah, we're going to be okay.